Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Shri Ganeshaya Namaha. Now a few questions. The corporate world pushes us into stress, fear, anxiety. Corporate world doesn't push you, you push yourself. Okay? Our greed pushes us, not the corporate world. In fact, our greed is the investment for the corporate world. So we need to keep our job. What to do? You forget about corporate world pushing and all that. Don't try to find a scapegoat for our deficiencies. You be devoted to the job. Just be devoted to the job. Suppose you are working in a laboratory, be devoted to that work. If you are a clerk, be devoted to that clerical job. Whatever job you are supposed to do, be totally devoted to that job. I have a feeling you are already that. That's why you are surviving here. Otherwise they will push into the Atlantic. Therefore, you are already that. I am not giving a new advice to you. Who am I to give that kind of an advice? I am only restating a fact. Therefore, we should stop finding scapegoats. Always look within. If somebody says something against the Swami, then the Swami looks within and asks the question. What the somebody said, is it right or wrong? It is right. God bless the person. Because he said the right thing about me, so it is for me to come out of that deficiency. So I have to work on it. I will. And then, if somebody, what he said is wrong, then God bless him, because it doesn't apply to me. Somebody told me, Tvam morkhaha. You are an idiot. That is, morkhaha means idiot. I looked at myself. Am I an idiot? I tell you really, I am not imagining. I am not making up. So it occurred to me, yes, in quite a few ways that is true. Okay? But that is not true in certain ways. Therefore, God bless him for saying the truth in certain respects. But if he says that with reference to some other thing, saha murkhaha, because he doesn't know, he doesn't have the ability to talk about, suppose somebody talks about my teaching, I look into my teaching and see whether what he says is correct. It is not correct. What I am doing is correct. Because Shankara is with me. Who is this guy? बच्चा है ना? बच्चे लोग ऐसा ही बात करते हैं. So will you take offense for it? No. So what I speak, in fact I am not speaking. Something else is speaking. The prime mover is speaking. I do not take upon myself that I am speaking. The prime mover is speaking. Only medium. Okay? And what is being spoken seems to coincide with what Shankara says. So what is the problem? A bachcha comes and tells, you don't teach properly. God bless you. So I told with reference to my job, because you asked about a job, therefore this is the way we have to do job. Be totally devoted to the job you do. And forget about corporate people pushing this, that. Forget about all of that. There could be always some issues while you are doing a job. People say things, or some circumstances do not be conducive, they come in the way. You have to face all those challenges with courage. And you should always appeal. You should not appeal to the outside. to the man or the God in heaven. That kind of appeal, I don't value it. You should appeal to the God who is in you. He is listening to you. And he is always there watching you. He is the Atma Sakshi, he is. And so you appeal to that inner Sakshi and take blessing from there and move forward. That is the way we have to live in this world. So it's a good question, and I answered rather spontaneously. Okay? Is it enough if we see Niagara on the internet? I don't think so. I don't think so. What you see on the internet is just Namarupa. Okay? You have to see it and you have to lose yourself in that vision. In that seeing, you have to lose yourself. There is only seeing. There is no seer-seen division. That must be the seeing. And that seeing is Brahman. Seeing is Brahman. The seer-seen duality, which is superimposed on the seeing, is samsara. The fact of seeing, the truth of seeing, is Brahman. Got it? So, therefore you have to go to Niagara and stand there. It doesn't matter how many times you have done it, don't count. It is always new. The number doesn't matter. That is all memory, which is false. So, which is unreal. You see it always for the first time. You meet anything and everything fresh and new. Not only Niagara. Even a drop of rain, which is just coming out. Just now a few drops of rain fell on my head. I considered it as a great blessing. And even I felt, maybe Drugdrushya Viveka 4 classes I am being blessed. That is how I felt. Because I see in that raindrop, I see the origin of all the oceans of this world. That is what that raindrop is. And it is always fresh. It is never the same old raindrop. It is always fresh and new. Life is like that. Only we meet the life through the prism of our memory. And that's why life becomes stale. So, that is, I think that answers that question. It's an interesting question, but that is the way you have to look at it. I have given priority to today's questions, okay? Every time we attend class, we learn something new. Very happy to hear that. More questions, don't entertain. This is enough. Okay, thank you. Then how come it is not an accumulated knowledge? What you learn, it is not accumulated knowledge. What you accumulate is accumulated knowledge. Okay? So, I have given examples. Suppose you learn. Suppose you feel jealous about someone. You feel. Human nature. We are all human beings after all. We have our weaknesses and our strong points. I feel jealous of someone, suppose. Then I look at that movement called jealousy within that. That is a movement. And it is very familiar to all of us because we felt jealousy sometime or the other in life. It is not a new movement for us, it is familiar movement only. And so I am aware of that familiar movement without condemnation. All this I am going to talk in tomorrow's class. A kind of I am anticipating it and saying it now itself. So I look at that movement of jealousy without condemnation, because that is what human nature is. So there is a comparison. That is how we are brought up from childhood, and whenever you compare, you become jealous. It is a natural consequence of comparison. And we are born and brought up with comparison, in comparison. Therefore, feeling jealousy is not a crime. It is the natural consequence of the way we are brought up in these modern societies. Therefore, I see all that movement without condemnation, and without judgment. And then I see that it hurts. Jealousy hurts. Not the other person about whom you are jealous. It hurts myself. And it goes against the vision of Vedanta, which says it is the same Atma. He is not the other person. The body-mind you may say other, if at all, but the Atma is not the other, same Atma. The jealousy has no meaning. I learn a lesson. This is not a cumulative knowledge. I have learnt now. From then on, I do not feel jealousy at all. I am not saying about I, just I gave you as an example. That is a way of speaking. Instead of saying you, I say I. Sometimes I give examples of family people, then I feel, okay, enough of family people, let me give some example from sannyasis, so that it gets balanced. That is how I do. Therefore, I have learnt a lesson that jealousy is meaningless, against the vision of Vedanta, and it hurts. It is not a wise thing to entertain it. So this is how it is. I have learnt a lesson. And now I do not feel jealous. I feel happy. If somebody is giving a talk on Vedanta, I sit in a corner and listen with rapt attention. If he has got something to say meaningful. If he doesn't have anything to say meaningful, then quietly, without anybody's knowledge, I move away, without disturbing anybody. I don't have an issue. I have learnt a lesson. This is learning. Tell me, is it accumulation? It is not. It is learning. I don't forget it. Accumulation I forget. I have accumulated all Panini here. And sometimes I forget. Sometimes I get it too. That is how accumulation works. Therefore, what you learn is not accumulation. Think about it. I have said enough. Maybe I will say some more again. How to understand Gita chapter 3rd sloka. Shreyan Swadharmo Vigunaha. In the background of Prakrute Kriyamanani Gunaih Karmani Sarvashaha. You see, you have to look at it, things carefully. You cannot engage in some kind of a noodle thinking. In the sense that you are looking at one verse and then suddenly you try to connect it with another verse elsewhere and try to make a connection. Is there a connection? It is called Sangati, connection. We look at it very seriously in the Shastra if there is a Sangati. If it is Sangati is there, we don't miss it. We try to hold it together. But if the Sangati is not there, then you don't try to connect them unnecessarily. For example, for the first verse and the second verse, they are of two different contexts. The first verse is about oneself devoting oneself totally to his duty. That is Swadharma. The second verse is Atma is not Karta. That is the second verse. The second verse, where it is coming from, I don't know the number. Shreyan Swadharmo Vigunaha must be from the 18th chapter, if I remember correctly. And this Prakrute Kriyamanani is somewhere in the 5th or 6th or 7th chapter. So like that, you don't connect like that. Okay? There is always a context. Gita deals with multiple facets of human existence. And one of them is one's love for one's duty. That is one facet. And the verse talks about it. And another facet is you assume yourself to be a doer, which you are not. Very, very, very high-tech Vedanta it is. That you are not the doer. It is the ultimate in Vedanta. If you know that you are not the doer, you have made it. Already you are liberated. Yapashyati tathatmanam akartaram sapashyati. 13th chapter in Gita. So these are the two topics. They are two different topics, right? Though ultimately they are all connected to human existence only. But they represent two different facets of human existence. So don't try to make like that. And you have to look into it a little more carefully. Jijnasus may be on different points in their journey of seeking and operated by one's own prarabdha. Now you are finding all kinds of escapes to get out of Vedantic vision. Prarabdha has nothing to do with learning. Prarabdha is always about sukha and dukkha. And if you want to learn something either from sukha or from dukkha, prarabdha doesn't come in the way. Okay? And when jijnasa is in you, means when you are earnest to learn, when you are earnest in your search for the truth, the entire nature will assist you. It won't come in the way. Prarabdha has no connection whatsoever what you are trying to accomplish now. Prarabdha is not about what you are doing now. Prarabdha is about what you are going through now. Sukha and dukkha. Suppose you are doing some service, you are helping somebody. Prarabdha is not connected with that. Suppose you face some difficulty, that is some dukkha, that is prarabdha. They are two different things. Okay? So, then seeking. So, you substitute seeking with the striving, then everything will be all right. Seeking is what? Seeking is, okay, we are here for 2 days. If some Atmajnanam comes and lands in our lap, we don't mind. That is the seeking. That is how people are really. Okay? Generally, they are not earnest. They are just seekers only. Habit, by habit. Swamiji, teach this. Okay, I started teaching. Now it is my job to finish it. I don't find the other people who asked for it around. Therefore, there is a proverb in Telugu. The proverb is, so there is the ring. You pull the person into the ring and put him there. And so he will be boxing. And you go home. That is the proverb in Telugu. So, substitute seeking with striving. It is not about a word, really speaking. You take the spirit only. Okay? Don't get hung upon this word or that word. That is a message even to myself. But if seeking in your case is this kind of seeking, then better substitute it with striving. That is what I mean. What are the different purification steps in order to prepare the mind for contemplation? You see, the mind, I talked about it today, I will talk about it tomorrow also. But let me say briefly, mind cannot be hyperactive. Mind has two kinds of blemishes or impurities. They are called sakashaya dosha, nishkashaya dosha. This is Gita. Okay? The word kashaya may not be in Gita. It came from Mandukya. So, sakashaya dosha, the blemishes, which are in the form of jealousy and anger, hatred, ill will, that is all sakashaya dosha. Nishkashaya dosha is a hyperactivity of the mind. You cannot sit for 5 minutes. You cannot be without your cell phone for 3 minutes. And so that is all nishkashaya dosha. You are jealous, angry, this and that. That is sakashaya dosha. Both kinds of impurities have to be addressed. For nishkashaya dosha, meditation, this pranayama may help. Sarala pranayama, simple pranayama, it can help for nishkashaya dosha. But today morning what I said, that helps even for sakashaya dosha. Like the anxiety is the kashaya and you want to get rid of it. What I suggest today morning, it can help. So there is a pamphlet They call it pamphlet, or they may even call it a monograph or an article published by Mayo Clinic on this topic. And I have read it. And so it mostly coincides with what I have suggested today morning. Taking deep breaths, etc. You may refer to it. Therefore, this is how you have to adopt various methods. You must have an open mind, always learning. And so, by that kind of an attitude of learning, your mind will become free from both kinds of impurities. And you have to see what is disturbing the mind the most. One is the problems associated with a smartphone are adequately studied and chronicled. It is all there in the literature, in scientific literature. Then there is another thing called multitasking. People do that. That is very painful. You should not do that. You should give up the multitasking. You should be devoted to one task at a time. Will multitasking increase productivity? The answer is no. The topic of multitasking is the subject of serious research and study by Stanford University, and they have published all this material in journals. I was going through all of that. They have conclusively proved that multitasking does not increase productivity. In fact, it will compromise productivity. You do too many things to produce a lot more, but it is so counterproductive. You get worked up and become anxious, and you produce less. The productivity suffers. Therefore, these are some of the issues that are associated with modern living. There is a thing called modernity. So, this is not your problem or my problem alone. These can be classified as a civilizational crisis. Some of these things which I said, the smartphone addiction, multitasking, these are already well recognized as the civilizational crises. That is how they are recognized. And now, in psychiatry, these are new subjects. They are new subjects in psychiatry, and in treatment also, in therapy also, they are new subjects. Probably they already have a medicine, a drug for smartphone addiction. Probably. I think they may be distributing pills for smartphone addiction. I think it is there already. I'm not sure, I'm not remembering. I think from Eli Lilly, a medicine has come, and that is for smartphone addiction. So, now you know where the culprit is. It is in your pocket. So, work on some of these things. I have given some kind of answer to it, not a very organized answer, because we don't have much time. I don't want to encroach into children's program. Therefore, that should suffice for that question. Look for more tomorrow morning. Follow-up question. This will wait. What is the difference between knowledge and experience? You know it. You know it yourself. In the meaning in which you are using the words also matters. Suppose you learn, you study something and understand. No, that is not the language. Suppose you read a theorem in set theory or in mathematics, etc. Let us say binomial theorem. That is my favorite theorem. So you understand, you study binomial theorem. You can say it. A plus x whole power n is equal to, you can say the whole blessed equation. That is knowledge, obviously. And then experience. You just now you had some nice dinner, right? That is experience. So there is a big difference between the two. And it is very obvious also. Religion versus philosophy. Could you help explain the differences? Sir, I am already in trouble. You push me into further trouble. Chalo, there is a proverb in Telugu. The one who has already dipped his head into Ganga, he will not have the fear of cold anymore. So, you want the differences between religion and philosophy. So, you see, I conducted a camp in Rishikesh 4 or 5 years back for 10 days, very well attended from all over the world. 250 people came from all parts of the world. And the topic was Bhakta and Bhakti, the devotion and the devotee. This is that only, you know. When you say devotion, there is some religion in it and some philosophy in it. So it is a real topic where these issues are considered through and through. So I refer that to you. You may get hold of that and listen to those classes and some satsang questions also. It takes some time, but that gives you a very comprehensive understanding of bhakti, religion and philosophy, the interrelationship and all that. So having said, I mean, if you are serious, you can do that. But in the moment, I will say a few things. Religion is belief. Be prepared. Have an open mind. Religion is belief. And philosophy is rational thinking. There is a big difference between the two. A believer doesn't think. In fact, he stopped thinking and he chose or he has chosen to go along with belief. Because belief is easy, thinking is more difficult. So religion is belief, philosophy is thinking, rational thinking. Religion divides. Any religion divides, invariably divides, no exception. Philosophy unites. Then religion is mostly ritualistic, most of the religion is ritualistic. And there could be some upasana associated with ritualism. And if that upasana is of the Upanishadic kind, it will uplift you into jnana. But if it is not of Upanishadic kind, if it is of the mythology that is in vogue, then the ritualism plus the mythological upasana put together bind you. It is golden shackles. You may go to heaven, but then you have to come back. It is golden shackles. In contrast to iron shackles. Whereas in philosophy, you are free from all kinds of shackles. It is liberation. So you see how much difference it is. Okay? A religionist would shoot me down if he listens to what I said. So these are only a few differences. A lot more differences will be there. In religion, you are a person, doer and enjoyer, a karta bhokta person, different from every other person. That is what you are in religion. In philosophy, you are a non-person. Tremendous difference between the two. These are some of the differences which come to my mind. Some more, a lot more are there. We hear about nididhyasanam. Is that the same as Upanishadic meditation? Yes, it is the same. And what we are trying to do in the morning also comes under the same category. Here is a question in which I see the word umbrage, U-M-B-R-A-G-E. I don't remember its meaning, therefore I am putting it aside. During self-inquiry meditation, the thoughts resolve into I thought or I-ness, yes. And later, that I-ness also resolves into a cognitionless state, yes. You have in fact echoed what Ramana Maharshi said in Upadesha Saram. and also in Saddarshanam. Then the question, this cognitionless state is the pure self? Yes. Or still the function of mind upon Chidabhasa? See, it is the pure self. These things are so close to each other to make, it is not like a watertight compartment. Here is the Chit, here is Chidabhasa, and then here is the thoughtless thoughts resolving. So these are not watertight compartments. It is flip-flop all the time. Therefore, Chit associated with an element of mind becomes Chidabhasa. Chidabhasa identified with the body, mind, becomes ego. And the ego loses the identification, becomes Chidabhasa. And Chidabhasa resolves into Chit. They are all there only. It is like wave and water. So wave subsides, it becomes water. There is a little disturbance in water, then the wave emerges. It is like that. So firstly you have to note that they are not like watertight compartments. So the same thing applies to body-mind also. We don't say body and mind. Because you can say also, it is not about semantics. As long as you know the thing correctly, the language can be flexible. But you should know correctly that body and mind are not two entities separate from each other. They constitute one organic whole. Physiology and psychology are very intricately connected. And therefore, when physiology is affected, the psychology gets affected, and vice versa. So, they are very closely connected. So, within that itself, there is no watertight compartment like separation. What to speak of Atma, Chidabhasa, and mind? They are very much together. They are there itself. They are all there. It is the mind, and when the mind becomes thoughtless, it becomes Atma, it becomes Sakshi, and then it is the Atma. And if there is an element of space-time conditioning, it is pure I amness. The space-time conditioning is over, it is the Brahma. It is just there only. Okay? We'll see further. If it is still the function of mind, then how this cognition experienceless state differs from the pure self? You see, cognition, you see what the self is, pure self is the knowingness in which there is no knowing. That is the pure self. Okay? Therefore, what you are hinting at is perfectly all right. When you are alert and aware, without any cognition interfering, you are already in the embrace of the truth. We'll see further. आपको पूज्य स्वामी जी श्री दयानंद सरस्वती जी स्वप्न में आते हैं कभी कभी? हो सकता है. How can you predict swapna? You cannot predict what happened in the past, you can tell. I get all kinds of funny swapnas. So it depends upon the content of the consciousness. The consciousness content that determines the swapna. So I get a chemistry laboratory more often in the swapna than any other thing. So some vasana must be there. And generally I did not remember of any nightmares. I do not remember of any nightmares. And sometimes the swapna could be very fulfilling and very enjoyable, but some may not be always like that. So generally the dreams are less, not that many, not that vivid, not that concrete. So it can happen, kabhi kabhi it happens. Recently I don't remember any such, I am answering very honestly. Recently I don't remember, but back in India I do get such dreams. फिर से जन्म लेंगे? पूज्य स्वामी जी, फिर से जन्म लेंगे? नहीं, आप भी फिर से जन्म नहीं लेंगे. Tatvamasi. You see, the Atma is not one thing for a jnani and another thing for an ajnani. No. Atma is the same for jnani as well as ajnani, like space, like sun, like moon. It is the same for you, for me, for any Mahatma. And only the Mahatma knows it and we don't know it. That is the only difference. Therefore, this idea that Pujya Swamiji will take birth again, etc., this is all not correct. That doesn't glorify Pujya Swamiji. In fact, if any, it will pull down the glory of a Mahatma. We should not do that. Generally, we do not refer to a living Mahatma. And also we do not refer to a Mahatma who left the mortal frame recently. We refer to Mahatmas who have become very much a part and parcel of the history. They are back in the history. Like that we refer. That is considered, it is a sensibility, it is. So, you suppose you start quoting me and I start quoting you, we meet occasionally. It doesn't happen like that. And then very recent memory also, you don't refer to the person unless a very specific context demands it. These are some of the sensitivities or sensibilities which all people may not have, but some people may have it. You can put me in that category. इतनी उच्च कक्षा के अपनी इच्छा पूरी कर सकते हैं, I don't know. Anyway, I have answered to the extent I could understand. Again, birth and this and that, it is neither here nor there. It is not correct. How do we adapt to the developments in the world, such as communication technology, etc., and provide this learning and sustain the future generations? It is all happening already. The teaching, due to COVID, the tremendous changes have come, the way you teach, etc. For example, in our ashram, when Pujya Swamiji was teaching, it was never live. You cannot see it from home. You have to come here and you cannot see any teaching real time elsewhere. You have to come here and sit in the classroom. But that has changed now. That has totally changed. In fact, Pujya Swamiji did not like it. He did not want that he should be relayed like that and people will see here and there. He frowned upon it and therefore it was never pursued. But now it has become the order of the day. So the changes happen, you know. And so today, especially after COVID, the teaching is going everywhere. Even I am surprised. I get letters. I sit in some corner in Secunderabad and take a class for half a dozen, not even half a dozen, 4 or 5 brahmacharis. If it is a bigger class, I do it in Shivananda Ashram, which is next door. And if it is a small class like a grammar, Sanskrit, Vyakaranam, or some advanced text, etc., some of these brahmacharis and sannyasis from Ramakrishna Mission, that is the sannyasis. So they come 3, 4, 5 of them, or even 6, and I take a class. But now I see that class is going all around the world. The grammar class also going all around the world. There are students who study grammar. Even in America there are some very good students of Panini's grammar. They participate in that class. I feel amazed that It is not only Dora Shravanam, it is not Dora Darshanam also. So what were described as Vibhutis in Patanjali's Yoga Darshanam or Yoga Sutras, they are all with us now. Patanjali would be jealous of you and me, I tell you. And he has to update his Vibhuti Pada the way technology has improved. Therefore, these are very normal. Then future generation, आप आपकी ख्याल कर दो ना. Future generations will be taken care of by future people. You have to understand that there is no future, there is only present. And you are the present. And your learning is the immediate demand or necessity. So there is no future and all that. Future generations, they will take care of themselves. Our youngsters, they are more smart than us, they are more Catholic in their approach, they have a broader mindset, they are more sensible, and they are wonderful people, they make us proud. And so you should feel proud of them. You should not feel, oh, when we go, what will happen to this dharma? It has to be, you don't worry. They are more dharmic than us. There are certain elements of hypocrisy in us in the name of dharma which they don't have. And they are more Catholic, as I already said. Therefore, future generations are already safe. Only we are not safe yet. So we have to pay attention to ourselves. I see watch, that is my habit, you know. If Brahman is everywhere, how can we not know each other's thoughts, mind, emotions? Because you are not yet Brahman. You are identified with one mind and one body. How can you know what Brahman could know? You see, Brahman doesn't know anything. You assume that Brahman knows this, knows that. Brahman is the knowingness which does not know anything. Okay? So, I appreciate you asked a question, but then you should be able to think carefully. You see, there are three statements with reference to the sun. So, let us say, first statement, Suryaha prakashayate. The sun illuminates all. That is one statement. Is it correct? It is not. Because the sun doesn't do anything to illuminate all. The sun is. The sun is nothing more. There is no action. It is no doing on the part of the sun. It is only being. When the sun is, everything gets illuminated. Sun is not a karta there. Therefore, you cannot use a sentence by making the sun the karta. So you cannot say Surya prakashayate. You cannot say that. Then let us say Surya prakashate. Means not remove the making other things shine. You remove that. Sun shines. Sun just shines. Instead of saying sun illuminating everything, we have put it aside. Now I say sun shines. Is it correct? Not. Because shining is not an action. It's not a doing. It is the being. It is not a doing. Doing is you take a broomstick and do something that is doing. Okay? So sun is not doing any such thing. He doesn't take a broomstick and throw away all the darkness here and there. So he is not doing anything. Therefore the verb sun shines is not valid. So dismiss that. Now what are we left with? Suryaha prakashaha. That is what we are left with. Sun is the shining. That's all. No verb there. Sun is the light. That is all. Nothing more. Brahman is like that. Brahman doesn't know. Brahman is the knowingness in which there is no knowing. Okay? Some of these things are So I am a bit hesitant to say, but then I may say to give an emphasis, nothing more. Some of these things are not articulated often. So you pay attention to them and you get the spirit of it. Okay? Sun shines. Brahman is the knowing, sun is the shining, sun is the light. That's all, nothing else. Similarly, Brahman is the knowingness, that's all, in which there is no knowing. Therefore, the question is not relevant. A wrong question cannot be answered. A wrong question can only be seen or understood as a wrong question. Pascal's view of body-mind and Vedanta view beyond. Please revisit. Okay. Pascal said, as a body, you are a speck in the universe. Not even a speck, less than a speck. Okay. But as mind, you are different. It is now not about speck, a small speck, a big speck, no. As mind, you are the one who can study and understand the entire universe. You see? So, you are not a speck in the universe anymore. You are that element which studies and understands the entire universe. That is rising above the body and going into the realm of mind. But then there is another dimension, the spiritual dimension. If you move from the mind dimension to spiritual dimension, you are all. You are the entire universe. You are one with all. You are the one that upholds the entire universe, brings it out of yourself and resolve unto yourself. That is what you are. Means Tattvamasi, you are Brahman. That is the final leap. The first leap is in your experience. So take the cue from it and accomplish the second leap. That is all you have to do. That is what Pascal said. No, the second part Pascal did not say, but Pascal is a philosopher. In those days, philosophers and scientists were one and the same, in the West at least. And all these scientific results were published in a journal called Journal of Philosophy. Even Newton published his work in Journal of Philosophy. Even Einstein published in Journal of Philosophy. Pascal also same. This is online question. I understood this morning that death happens in the future. Please explain. I said like that. I don't know what I said. Death happens in the future. In a way you can say that. Because we are all alive. Just now we had our dinner and all that.
What you said was that only one thing is certain about the future.
About the future. That is death. That is death. Yeah. That is what I was not so much hung up on the future aspect of it. I am saying if you are waiting for something, that something can only be death, nothing else. So again you have to take the spirit of it. Sometimes people don't like to hear the word death. They feel, oh, this is inauspicious and all that. But not for Vedantins. We love death, because death, we look at it as Brahma Vidyacharya, that is Kathopanishad. The God of death teaches what is death and what is life. And therefore we love Mrityu Proktam, the message given by death. So we have a very big value for death. So you understand that. So people are waiting for self-realization to happen. So in that context, they are waiting. They say they wait in many ways. You know how they wait? I am out of experience, I am a veteran of all these things, you know. So out of experience I am telling you, some people are waiting. Now we have studied all Vedanta, accumulated all the knowledge, and it's only a matter of taking to sannyasa, and the wife doesn't agree with that, and children are not allowing it, you know, samsara. So, therefore a day will come when sannyasa I will take, then self-realization will happen. They are waiting for that. That is one category. Like that there are a few other categories, okay? Some people have studied Tattvabodha, begin with Tattvabodha and studied 2, 3, 4 Upanishads, including Kenopanishad, look at that. So, and Mandukya. And now only Brahma Sutra is pending. They could not find time to finish that Brahma Sutra. Not entire Brahma Sutra, Chatussutri. Okay? It is like, there is a book of 35 chapters and you read first half chapter. Something like that. Anyway, so the Chatussutri, they are waiting for that. Someday, the Chatussutri, they will study, then moksha will come. They are waiting for that. That is the second category. Then there is another category who have declared, as long as you live, you don't get moksha. So to get moksha, the first condition to fulfill is die. So therefore, what to do, you nothing about it. So when death comes, moksha will come, called Videha Mukti. Therefore, they are very relaxed. Death will come, not now. Death will not come immediately. It will come later, you know. They are very sure about it. So it will come somewhere later. And after that, moksha will come. So that is another category. Like that, many people are waiting for moksha to happen. The preliminary conditions they have fulfilled, now just for waiting for moksha to happen. I am saying you won't get moksha that way. You won't get realization, self-realization that way. If you are waiting, only one thing is certain, that is death. In that sense, I said it. It is not so much about death as it is about realization of the truth in the present moment. Good. Thank you, sir. Explain aham spurana as mentioned in Upadeshasara. Why you go to Upadeshasara? I am not with Upadeshasara now. So, ahame nashabhaji aham ahantaya spurati. That is the verse. So I have to explain. Okay, I will explain. You say, suppose you take a vessel and fill it with water and put it on stove, the gas stove. And so the flame is burning. The water, if you just wait a minute or two, the water will start making a small sound. Right? What is the sound? Chui, chui, like that it will make sound, right? That is called spuranam. From itself, as though there is no outside agent, as though. Because you cannot see the flame. Let us assume like that, you cannot see the flame. So you don't see the fire. You see only water. And water is making a sound. Okay? Now, they say the water is spurati. A small sound is coming from the water. Water is spurati. In Hindi, furta hai, aisa bolte hai. Okay? So, jalam spurati. Water is, take it like that. Water is making some small sound. Spuranam is not sound, but I took the example like that. Jalam dhvaniti. It is making a small sound. Similarly, when you wake up, from within you, there is a small spuranam. And what is this spuranam? In the case of water, it is what? Chui, chui, chui. That is the spuranam. In this case, the spuranam is aham, aham, aham. That is the spuranam. Okay? Now, that sound from the water, what is the source of that sound? Is it water? Not. Vessel? Not. Stove? Not. You don't see the fire. The fire is the source. You don't see it. Okay? Old-fashioned stoves you can see it. In modern stoves, especially if it is electric stove or some other gas stove where the fire is it is not red, it is blue and you don't see it for whatever reason. Then you don't see the fire, and the unseen fire is the cause of that sound. Similarly, ayam is coming, aham, aham, that is the sphuranam. Okay? And what is the source of that sphuranam? The body? No. Mind? No. Jiva, the person? No. Person comes later. The source of that sphuranam is Brahma, Atma. Okay? Hridaya Punda. Not that. So, Hridaya Kuhara Madhye Kevalam Brahmamatram Hyahamaham Sakshad Atma Rupena Bhati. This is from Ramana Gita. And this verse echoes the same idea, and that is from Upadesha Saraha. What is the next text one should study after Drugdrishya Viveka? Good question. So the next text is Drugdrishya Viveka part 2. And I will see all of you in that camp, God willing. Okay, God willing, that is always there. So don't want to make predictions and anticipations and all that. God willing, we'll meet again sometime this period next year and continue with Drugdrishya Viveka part 2. Okay? And if you have time and energy, please meet me in Vishnu Sahasranama classes which are coming later this week. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti